Hi, my name is Allie Van or Vanimation, and I'm working on an indie animated web series called Bleating Heart. Just a heads up before we begin, this video features sped up screen recorded animation sessions where I toggle back and forth between frames constantly, which could cause discomfort for anyone who's sensitive to rapidly flickering images. If you think you could be affected, I recommend keeping this video in another tab and listening to the commentary only. Or if you'd rather watch the process silently, you can adjust the speed in YouTube's video settings to suit your needs. Either way, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy this look at my process. If you have any questions about it, feel free to ask in the comments and I'll be happy to answer. In this work session, I did a second pass over my first pass of animation to start to tighten up the drawings by solidifying the volumes and adding missing details. The first thing I'm doing is scrubbing through my timeline trying to figure out where to start working. I very rarely start at frame 1 and go in order from beginning to end, especially when I'm just doing another rough pass of animation. I usually start with my keyframes, and in most cases those are the drawings that are held on screen the longest. They're also called storytelling poses since they're the most prominent and important drawings used to convey a story in a scene. I want my keys to look the best since they will stand out the most, so I start there and I invest the bulk of my time and energy into them. I brought over my character sheet, which was already in the scene when I did the first pass, but I moved it closer to where I'll be drawing so that I can reference it easier as I revise and tighten up these drawings. This helps me see aspects of Marcia like how tall she is, where her ears sit on her head, how high her boots rise up on her legs, etc. In this particular drawing, Marcia's leaning forward with her legs bent, so I have to look at my A-pose model sheet drawing and try to translate that design into an active pose while maintaining those volumes. I do sometimes push or exaggerate the poses if necessary, so she won't always match the model 100%, but as long as she looks like herself and it's not super noticeable to the audience, then I'm okay. I did cleanup animation on a short film production a few years ago where the rule of thumb they gave us was when in doubt, go for appeal, which means that if you're struggling with a strange angle on a character that doesn't quite match up with the model sheet, don't worry about making it exact, just make it appealing. I really liked that instruction and I've been applying it to my own work ever since. Rather than labor over trying to make a weird angle look on model, I just get it as close to the model as possible, but prioritize the character looking flattering or cute. Part of the struggle of tightening up rough animation is making sure that the character doesn't become too stiff in the process of like reshaping them to be on model. So as I work, I want to make sure I retain the life and energy present in the first pass. One of the best ways to do that is by flipping the drawings back and forth to see them in motion. So that's why you see me toggling back and forth between frames throughout the entire animation process. It also helps keep my volumes consistent from one drawing to the next. Another way to do this is with the onion skin tool, but I've found that relying on it too much can make drawings feel out of place or like they're boiling because you're viewing multiple frames at once instead of watching them in a sequence, the way that animation intends them to be. It's hard to see because the drawings are so faint, but you might notice that the rough drawings in the second half of the scene are more detailed and on model than the first half, and that's because I did them months, if not years, apart from each other. I actually don't even remember when I started this scene, but it might have been like 2021. I realized I didn't like how I originally had Marcia climbing over the guardrail, so I decided to reanimate it and add a little hop to her movement. One of the things I should have done early on was lock down the placement of the guardrail. You can see the guide drawing underneath, but that's just the storyboard, not the final layout. And I should have decided things like how thick it was going to be and how high off the ground it was going to be before I started animating Marcia moving around it and interacting with it. One of the perks of digital animation is that I can easily adjust her hand placements if I need to, but that extra work wouldn't really even be necessary if I had just set up my scene properly in the first place. For this next scene, the session was the first time I had done any animation on it, and the drawings you're seeing underneath are the storyboard sketches. Because this was the first pass and it just shows Marcia's hand, I didn't bother with a model sheet or anything, though I will probably bring in a hand pose sheet when I do the next pass. Marcia is a three-fingered character, which is tricky to make appealing. Sometimes I think her hands look like an alien's or like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Her hands look most like hooves when they are flat with her fingers pressed together. When designing them, I thought a lot about how evolution would work and how hooves would elongate and gain articulate properties. Because my storyboard drawings already serve as key poses, I can just redraw those with more detail, then focus on timing out the rest of the animation. The more drawings you add, the slower the action becomes, and I added a lot of easing into each pose so that the movement didn't look so snappy and energetic. This is a calm but dramatic moment, and I didn't want things to feel rushed. I originally had Marcia hesitating and pulling her hand back slightly as she reaches the wolfsbane just to increase the suspense, but I decided to leave that out. It's actually in the original trailer I did back in 2020. At this point in the story, though, Marcia has no reason to assume the wolfsbane has magical properties or that anything bad will happen if she touches it, and the way she approaches it, reaches for it, picks it, and studies it all communicate that she is curious, intrigued, and completely naive to the danger ahead. So I didn't realize until I was editing this video how far zoomed out I was for this segment, and I think it's because I wasn't worried about the tiny little details, so I didn't zoom in to noodle with little lines or anything. I just stayed pulled out so that I could see like the big picture of the movement and see how it was reading throughout the scene. And I could say that that's, my method to my madness type thing, but I honestly don't remember exactly what was going through my head, if anything at all. It might just be kind of a subconscious thing that I do, but unfortunately for most of this scene that I was working on, it does stay pretty zoomed out. But hey, that's my process, and that's what you came here to see. Again, if you have any questions about animation or my process, feel free to ask in the comments below. For more videos like this and to stay up to date on Bleating Heart, please subscribe to this channel. You can also support me on Ko-fi, that's ko-fi.com/vanimation. Supporters who donate $2, whether that be monthly or just a one-time donation, get access to behind-the-scenes content like work-in-progress animations and monthly production updates about Bleating Heart. Thanks for watching, and here's the current works in progress for both of the scenes shown in this video.